Let's delve in deeper with legal expert Advocate Modidima Mannya. Advocate Mannya, thank you for being with us. So the Judicial Service Commission made this recommendation to the President on the 25th of July. Do you find it interesting that the President hasn't suspended him yet? Any comments on that? And how successful could Judge Hlophe be in stopping his suspension?
Well, good evening and to your viewers. You know, I think the observation I have made about President Ramaphosa is that he never acts impulsively. And often I think he takes his time to make decisions, and that could be the reason why he has not yet taken a decision, or he has taken a decision and not yet announced it on whether to suspend Judge Hlophe. But I think just to give some bit of a background, this is a 14-year-old matter that has gone in and out of court. It has gone to the Judicial Conduct Committee. It has gone to the Judicial Conduct Tribunal, which ultimately found him guilty of gross misconduct, which is impeachable. The next port of call is the National Assembly, which by two-thirds majority must take that decision. And if they can't reach a two-thirds majority, they can still impose a lesser sanction than to remove him as a judge. Now, what it has transpired in between is that he reached agreement with the JSC that the issue of the suspension will not be dealt with until his review application in the High Court has been concluded. That has now been concluded, and but he has decided to go on appeal. So to a very great extent, the JSC met its part of the bargain. Now he's saying that, look, you can't proceed because I'm on appeal. Obviously, in the natural progression of things, if you appeal on a matter, it's still continuing. So his argument is that you can't implement this whilst the matter is on appeal. So effectively saying it's not concluded.
So which of the legal minds involved in this matter do you concur with? The JSC that says it can now recommend his suspension, or him who says the JSC cannot because he's appealing that earlier verdict?
Well, the question whether the JSC can recommend is not dependent on whether he's appealing, but it dependent on whether it is within the powers of the JSC, which it is, to make that recommendation. Yeah. Because remember, he's challenging this decision of the JSC on two bases. He's saying that it is illegal, basically, which means that the JSC doesn't have the power to recommend that. The JSC does have the power to recommend, except that probably his qualification is that you can't recommend now when there's litigation. The second one is saying that there's a rationality issue with regard to the recommendation, which means it doesn't have a basis. But the test actually is that there must be a rational connection between the decision and the purpose. The purpose here is to protect the dignity of the court. So the suspension is not part of the sanction. It's an interim measure to protect the integrity of the judicial system.
He also says that the JSC's move is an attempt to subvert the Superior Courts Act. Then he's also mentioned media reports suggesting that the commission wasn't properly constituted. Can you comment on either of those? What's the basis of that claim?
Well, look, if the commission was not properly constituted, it may as well be that it didn't have the standing to take the decision. I'm not aware of that, but I think the other side, I don't know what would constitute a subversion of the Superior Courts Act. The issue of the conduct, the appointment and tenure and terms of the judges is in terms of the Judicial Service Commission Act, and the conduct is related to the Code of Judicial Conduct, and that's it.
Advocate, it's been 14 years since he approached two Constitutional Court judges on pending cases involving the former President Jacob Zuma and the arms deal. That's what the fuss is all about. The JSC found he violated his oath of office by attempting to influence those judges. Are there any timelines becoming clearer now as to how long this will take to go through the courts, and then how long the impeachment process could possibly take? It feels like the wheels of justice are turning very slowly. Is that a problem, or is that just fair?
Look, it's a problem, but it's also fair at the same time, in the sense that the Judicial Service Commission process has got its own timelines. But it's not the be-it-all, because if I were to go to court to challenge a decision of the Judicial Service Commission, it may delay the process. And that is what has actually happened here. So it's not as if the Judicial Service Commission was just sitting slumbering and not doing anything about it. He has got a right to exercise his rights and exhaust his procedural rights where he deems that fit. And you can see that in the many instances, the courts have not ruled in his favor. The second part of it is that the decisions of the president are taken by the president based on his own timeline. So even if the JSC were to say, we recommend this, they can't say you must do this within 5 days. The processes in the National Assembly are dependent on the rules of the National Assembly and when the matter will be submitted and scheduled for discussion and debate. But I think, having said that, I think there's a general concern, because I think at some point there were about 7 judges who had conduct cases against them, and none of the cases had been concluded. And I think the question was whether this does not suggest laxity in terms of dealing with the issue of the conduct of judges, which is central to our constitution, because the judges are, the last line of defense in our constitutional state.
All right, thank you for your analysis. As always, that was legal expert, Advocate Modidima Mannya.